Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Jim and Sam Town Square. I'm Scott King. Jim and Sam fans know me from the Forbes articles, and I'm joined, as always, by Emmy Award-winning television producer Chris Cangilla. This episode recapping week 3 of April 2024. And Chris, you know, there's some good Nikki and Jim stuff. There's a new
Jim. Yeah. I'm sorry, brother. Just before we go any further, it's on the top of my mind, and I hope it's on the top of yours. And I know many other Jim and Sam listeners feel the same way. Where are the hugs? Why didn't we get the hugs as the pun? I know you and I have them, but where's our punishment? Where's Troy hugging Montone? They're not going to hug. Actually, where's Travis hugging Montone? Where's Troy hugging Travis? They teased it, and they never went to it last week. What's going on?
There was a point, might have been Thursday, there was a point where Jim kind of said, hey, we're going to do that. And Sam said, oh, I was hoping we forgot about it. He's got cold feet with this bit that was like drawn out over a whole entire show, like show and a half, that they described how the hugs are going to be given, that Troy is also getting a hug now. I don't know. I feel like Sam legitimately was just over it. Kind of like how Quentin doesn't want to do his movie critic movie.
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope we see it. Like Monday, it'll be days from now. So I hope we see it.
I do have some inside information because I've been going back and forth with our friend Miguel from Jim and Sam Dank Means.
Okay.
And Miguel said he will be pretty much letting them know every day by phone calls that they haven't done it. In typical Miguel fashion. I said, please stay on top of that, brother. So yeah, he'll make sure they know about it. And they awesome. Love Miguel. So yeah, I want my hug. I mean, I'll get a hug from you when I see you next, but I want the hugs from the show.
I 100% agree. And Miguel got a lot of play this week. We'll talk about a little bit of it later, but
I'm sorry I interrupted you. Get back to the things we want to talk about here.
All right. Nikki.
Yeah.
Some Jim and Nikki talk this week because they had a great podcast too. But Nikki, I don't know how this doesn't happen all the time, but she tripped on a kiss poster of Jim, and we've seen in the early videos how he just kind of has them all over the floor. He's going to get a coffee table where you can put giant posters inside of it that are framed to hide them. And she may have been a little under the influence, Jim said as well.
Yeah, and I love that Jim said he was not super concerned about how she was. He was more concerned about the poster and if it was damaged. We can understand that from Jim. But yeah, it's a tripping hazard. They're all over the place. There's so many of them. So yeah, it was pretty funny.
And the guys in the studio actually shared Jim's sentiment. They all said they were worried about the posters first, and then they all love Nikki. So it shows you we know how important kiss posters are to Jim. And on Monday night, we hear on Tuesday there's some as you get married, there's some nagging going on with Nikki about, I think she's been on a big furniture kick. They've been looking. She's ready to get new furniture. So I think it was kind of about that and probably the posters too.
Yeah. I mean, I love Jim, but I bet living with him can be a chore as well. So I'm not going to, blame Nikki for all of that. But yeah, so, she was having a little tough time and one of the guys in the studio recommended or actually commented, I should say, that, well, it's not because of Aunt Flo.
Right.
So they can't chalk it up to being a little bit disappointed and a little bit moody because of that monthly event.
True. It might be the hormones, but who knows? And if you want to know more about Jim and Nikki and Jim's past relationship with Jen, an ex-girlfriend who was with Jim for a lot of the things he's talked about with his relationship woes over the years, going back to Opie and Anthony. He was with Jen, and now Jen is best friends with Jim and Nikki and counsels them. And in this podcast, she talks about how she has to counsel to give Jonathan a little therapy too. And it was a really good episode of Swordfight. I implore everyone to check that out. You really get even more insider information on Jimmy and his relationships.
I think what we're gleaning a little bit too is that, Jim has some challenges with the people that are close with him, in dealing with his idiosyncrasies. It's the highest of the highs and making you laugh, but it's the, the anxiousness and maybe melancholy at times, and just the, I don't know if you'd call it an ADD kind of situation that just kind of maybe
he's compulsive.
Yeah, compulsive. Yeah, just kind of might grind on some of the people that are most close to him, but they love him just like we do.
Yeah, that's another good thing I thought from that podcast was that there's always like this underlying love for Jim no matter what's going on, and everyone just kind of like walks him through when he's having these little kiss poster buying extravaganzas or is being a little irrational. Like there is like a it's not like everyone's tolerating Jim. It's like everyone absolutely loves Jim and he does these things sometimes. So
And
it
it's
was
not
really
even
kind of endearing.
tolerating. Yeah, it's not even tolerating
Yeah,
because
yeah, it's not. It's like
they're happy to do all these nutty things because it brings them joy and down deep inside, not deep inside, even on the surface.
yeah.
Jim's a sweet, sweet boy.
Yeah, you can tell everyone thinks that. It was a great episode again. And speaking of Jim, this kind of came out of nowhere. And we've had our hearts broken so many times with the soiree being mentioned, I think for 2 years now, the latest one, because we heard about the one with the camping chairs. That was epic.
Right.
And excuse me,
It was about this time. It was this time last year, right? That they started really talking about the main one.
I feel like it was more than a year, but maybe that's just because it's so agonizing. But yeah, at least a year, and it just hasn't happened. And Jim just brought it up this week. Oh yeah, maybe we'll do it, and everyone's kind of like, no, don't say
I
that.
I think what led to it is he said that the terrace is now open. So I guess they
They're still
probably
open for
prepare.
business.
Yeah, they prepare that and get that all ready. And Nikki wants people over, is what he said too. So
That's why it might happen,
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
That
she'll
is
be the
why.
driving force. You bet she will.
Then
And
we'll have to
maybe
guess about the guest list because it's gonna be people that Jim wants, people from the show, and also people she likes. And she a lot of her friends are Jim's friends. It'll be
yeah,
interesting.
she likes most of people that
Yeah,
Jim likes for, all intents and purposes. But yeah, I mean, and then Jim's trying to figure out the date, because he has comedians that might work on a Friday or a Saturday or Sunday. So he's like, okay, maybe we'll do it on a Monday when we're off, or whatever, or a Sunday night when we're off. But there's guys at work, so who
yeah.
knows? It feels like it's going to be like a Thursday afternoon affair, maybe.
I hope it happens. I think I
Yeah.
might now because of Nikki. Speaking of people from the show socializing, it was hinted and then confirmed on Instagram that the Teffts and Biggins were going to have a soiree of their own out. And I saw they went out, and Travis said this is what happens on Instagram. He had a picture of a broken beer glass and said, "This is what happens when you hang out with Matt Biggins." And then Matt Biggins had a post on Instagram that Travis shared, I believe, calling him like a beta cuck. So
Yeah.
it's like this is out of control now. This is
I
like
mean,
this,
it went from 0 to 100, and that's
yeah,
usually what happens with the Biggins, right? It's
right,
either going to be, as Sam said, just the best time in the world, or it's going to end up in violence.
yeah,
But yeah, so and by a smashed beer mug or whatever that was,
yeah.
liter glass of beer, you could tell that there's some things going on there. So yeah, it was
You
an
want to hear how
event.
it happened?
We didn't see anybody else other than the Teffts and the Biggins in any of those
No,
photos. So I hope some of the other people from the show were there as well. So we'll see. We'll
yeah.
find out on Monday, I hope. Or they
Was
won't
it?
tell us on Monday and they'll push it on for 3 more weeks. We'll never hear about it.
Yeah,
I'm doing my no
they,
hug.
they open with that and then do hugs.
Yeah.
But there was talk about maybe going to Jim's show. Do you think they checked out Jim's show first, or we don't?
I mean, it sounds like they're at the Cellar because even Jim reposted that the Biggins
Oh, so
out.
maybe okay.
If they're going to be at the Cellar, they're going to have those wings. So we'll see.
And speaking of the Cellar, this was a really good call. I've always like listened to and read everything about the Comedy Cellar I can,
Sure.
kind of since the Tough Crowd days. But a caller called in and asked if the Cellar has a different vibe now. Because you think about it, you have people like Jim and Colin, and I guess sometimes Voss.
And
He's not
Bob
as much as
Kelly.
yeah, Bob Kelly's probably pretty regular there still. Going in and doing sets, and then you have and Keith Robinson who's been on the show recently, and you
Sure.
have these new guys come in and let me say this. Let's not spoil my line of the week. Not
Okay.
do that.
I'm glad you mentioned that
Let's not
because I was
do
about
that.
ready to say that that
But I
line
mean,
right there
these are
was a great
guys.
one.
Let's say this: these are guys who are these younger guys. Don't do that. Hey, I'm gonna rip you apart at the table thing.
Right.
But they're kind of making it in the new show businessy way, and we'll
Let's
talk
just
about
say they're moving the table to maybe a digital realm maybe they're doing
it.
it
Very
somewhere
fair.
else.
Very
But
fair.
I will say to you about the Cellar, being such a Jim and Sam cuck, if you will. This goes back, maybe 5, 10 years ago when I really started getting into the guys. I actually was in New York City, had time, maybe, a short morning to kind of see the sights. And of course, I had to go by to see what the Cellar was like. So I took a picture of what the Cellar, because I had to go find it. I had to know what what they're talking about and see
Yeah.
it. So you've been there, right? Or you have been?
I did. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
might have told this before, but it was awesome. My wife bought tickets way in advance, and my wife and I, we were just dating at the time. Went to New York, went to the Cellar. I was thinking a late Thursday show, and
Okay.
that seemed like the best show to go to. Maybe I had some insider information
Who'd
because
you
that's
see?
when
Do you remember?
drop-in sets happen. What's that?
Do you remember who you saw?
Yeah, there was a big lineup like Anthony Jeselnik, John
Oh,
Fish, all
wow.
these great comedians, and then Attell closed.
Oh,
But
cool.
show wasn't over. Chris Rock popped in. It
Oh,
was
what
awesome.
a night.
It was
What a night.
amazing.
Good for you.
It is so much fun. The Cellar is an institution. I'd love to go back. And I wonder if because so many people go to the Cellar, if they would kind of just enlighten everyone and know that even though the Cellar's on that land, it's not truly not their land because there is something and this I am part Native American. I'm Choctaw Indian.
Oh, there you
But
go.
Jim, and this is not I totally get what Jim is saying. He's talking about the land acknowledgments. He's not obviously not slamming Native Americans. He's slamming the phony kind of white people that say we're going to acknowledge these people. This
Yeah,
tribe
right.
was on this land, and this that's great. Like, what are you doing for Native? Are you donating to Native Americans? Are you giving this building and land to them, or are you just saying a bunch of nonsense? So
Well,
I agree with Jim's point.
yeah, I do too. And the thing is that I've learned throughout, trying to study history, and doing my that podcast is that, really the stories are written by the winners of the battles, right? So if you're the conquerors, as us Americans were over, the indigenous people, you tell it the way you want it to be told, because you're the one controlling the history after you win. So
Yeah.
it's always history's told by the winners. So yeah, there's a lot of atrocities and it's horrible, but there's just that's like they talked about. It's been throughout history. That story has happened all the time.
I agree. And even with the history of Jim and Sam, I feel like Sam needs to acknowledge something.
Yeah,
And this was MVP. Let's call him the MVP
he is.
caller. And even more than that, this week, Miguel brought up what did he think that Sam should acknowledge?
So I think Miguel this week was almost like, we talked about the third chair, man. He was on
Yeah, for sure.
fire.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
great.
so he brought up, since they're talking about, stealing people's lands, if Sam was gonna, you know, finally acknowledge that he stole Opie's spot. And everybody laughed and it was great. It was perfect.
It was great. Yeah.
If you follow Jim and Sam Dank means, Miguel has a special place for Opie in his posts. So that yeah, it was spot on and hilarious.
In the realm of phony white people, Jim also let on that he hates privilege checkers. When people, talk about checking your privilege, that is just kind of an annoying nothing thing. I agree. But my question to you is, does privilege checkers get out of the quarterfinals if there's a bracket challenge next week?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't think they do. I don't think they do because it's a hard one to kind of qualify because, you know, it's a lot of people have privilege. I mean, look at us. We're white men, we
It's
have a
all
lot of privilege.
encompassing.
Yes.
It's a lot of phoniness
Yeah.
encompassed. And the way he talked about it, I think there's some hatred there. I don't.
Yeah. We'll see. What
It
do you
depends on
think?
the
You think
matchup.
it'll
It could go to the semis. We'll
all
see.
right, you never know. I totally screwed up, that whole side of the bracket when the
Oh,
what was it? Yeah, what moved on all the way forward that I was so surprised on. I think it was um the alumni. I didn't think the alumni would get out of the first round. His hatred for college alumni. So I don't know anything.
yeah, yeah, true, true. And that went pretty far. And then with this kind of whole land acknowledgement thing, a not the MVP caller, the Miguel
No,
is some guy who's a lawyer called in to argue with Jim and educate him with the really idiosyncrasies of the history of it. And that wasn't his point at all. His point was
no.
just that people are being phony. You're just saying all this stuff. You're not really doing anything for Native Americans. And the guy is this lawyer. And he couldn't comprehend it. And Jim, of course, you're trying to argue with possibly the best debater in the history,
He's
not
a
just of
master
comedians. Like,
debater.
yes, he's a master debater. He is literally one of the best. Like if you watch him debate Lindy West, he's calm, has the best
We've talked
points,
about
and he's
this
like,
over and over. Yes, it's
yeah,
so true.
he's so good at it. But anyways, this guy called in and Jim mopped the floor with him. It was silly nonsense, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I, even going back to the old Howard Stern movie, I don't understand if you don't like somebody, why do you listen over and over every single day? I don't get it. I don't think I could do that. I know they say you want to hear what they're going to say next, but I don't understand why this guy's even a fan or listening if he has that. And then of course he plays, the card that every one of these type of guys has. Well, if he's not winning his argument, he's just going to call Jim a racist.
Yeah, totally. It's like,
So,
good luck with that.
yeah, exactly.
Not a good segue here, but but the Yankees broadcaster, Mr. Sterling, he announced his retirement, but like you're a sports fan, you're in broadcasting, it's very abrupt. Not even like let me do a farewell tour where every other franchise gives me gifts or just one more game where I can wave to the crowd. Nothing. He's done. An older gentleman, but isn't that weird?
Yeah, and especially because we're what 3 weeks into the Major League Baseball season.
Yeah, you hope he's okay.
Yeah, I hope so too. Or as Jim has alluded, maybe somebody's in his family is not well. But you allude to this. I'm going to retire during the off season, and then
right.
or this is going to be my last season, and I'm going to do 5 games in select places or something, or select matchups or whatever. But he's going to be missed. And probably missed most by, Susan Waldman. Susan?
John.
John, it's gonna that voice is soothing.
So even her stuff when they play it and rip on her is always hilarious.
It's great.
They found Travi was finding the best calls. Mr. Sterling had so many flubs and they're amazing. It's like it's like it's gone. What am I?
Oh no, Pete, I think he caught that one. Yeah, he cut that.
Yeah, I'm watching the monitor, guys. There's a replay. Sorry, guys.
Well, what happened there, John? Is he actually, just like shut up? Yeah, but yeah, he has those flubs, and then he has the crazy sing-songy. All those weird calls of the home runs. It's a belly, back-to-back belly. Oh god,
there were some good ones too.
Oh, they're great though. They're hilarious. I love them.
It was a great.
He's made a legend for himself, out of himself for doing those.
Speaking of great segments, my God, and they touched on this on the show. It's just worth mentioning because Sam was kind of telling Jim about it, and him and Travis were talking about it. But Conan's appearance on Hot Ones with fellow U of I alum Sean Evans was fantastic. It's like Conan's like, I'm gonna do this interview show where you eat some spicy wings and sauces. But no, I'm just going to remind everyone that I am one of the funniest people alive, and I'm going to educate everyone on how you do comedy, and it was amazing. And then he still was keeping it going yesterday. He had a message from his doctor,
yes,
on Twitter. Like that guy was great. I just love it, man. And my wife and I started watching a show last night. It's great. The new Max show is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about this, and it's true of Travis and Sam, and I think it's true of you. He's your era, right? He's your guy.
Totally.
Conan, yeah.
You're each like a year or two older than me, but junior high, same thing. Junior high was like my parents would let me stay up and watch it.
Yeah. See, for me, it was David Letterman. I loved Letterman when he was on NBC.
But I loved Letterman too.
When he first started. Too. That was when he first started NBC. That was my thing, late night, and Jay Leno actually was a comedian that would come on that show, and it was a good time back in then. So I know how much Conan means to you, and he just owns it. And I was watching. I mean, he was all over social media, and I was watching when he would have attractive women on his show and the way he interacts with them. It's just hilarious. He gets all nervous and whatnot. And yeah, so and I remember this too. He was on, and I'm going to forget her name, the female comedian. She had a talk show as well, blonde, very funny. Oh God, a little older.
Chelsea Handler?
Chelsea Handler. Thank you. Yeah, he's on with Chelsea, and they did this bit where they're in the shower together.
Oh, I remember that.
They're arguing. Conan was cut, man. I was surprised. This guy's in good shape. I mean, I don't know if he is anymore, but I was like, holy smokes. So yeah, I mean, he's everything, and he's just a funny fella. And just going back a little bit, did he get his start writing with The Simpsons, or was it Saturday Night Live?
How did it was go? There was like an HBO show. I want to say maybe it was a sports show he had a little stint at, and then SNL. He went to Harvard, wrote for the Lampoon.
Got it.
Sports show, Simpson, or that sports show, SNL. I think it was a sports show, HBO show,
Simpsons.
SNL, Simpsons, and late night. Yeah.
Yeah. just fantastic. And
he was just on Curb too. He was just great on Curb.
Yeah. So I haven't seen anything bad that he's ever done. So
no, he's a legend.
For sure.
Speaking of legends, we are saying goodbye to, again, this pipeline. I guess Travis does the hiring of the interns, but like, you don't have a bad intern, even when they're a little annoying, as we've had maybe a few years ago. It's like always great radio. Like they just pick the right guys that either like help the show technically or they're great on the air. Anthony was like a movie buff and great, and he had a memorable last day, didn't he? He did some things.
Yeah, I'll tell you this too. And God, I can't believe I've already forgotten our intern that we had last time. He was a really outgoing kind of kid. He did the submarine thing. God, my memory's like Jim's. I swear to God.
God, I know. No, I'm the same way.
Anyway, the last intern that was funny and did when the submarine imploded. I can't remember his name. But anyway, he was kind of different than Anthony. And Anthony, sweet, sweet boy, but kind of a dud a little bit when they'd ask him a question like, Anthony, what do you want to do next? Oh, I don't know.
There's a lack of energy.
There's lack of energy. He's low energy, as they would say.
Low energy Anthony.
But what a sweet kid. And man, he's not a kid, he's a man, but what a sweet guy. He bought gifts for the guys, man, and really knows them well. I mean, he got, gift cards to certain, fast food restaurants for the guys that partake. And Montone doesn't do that. So he found this Italian restaurant in his neighborhood that so nice. It was just, it was so just thoughtful, super sweet and did such a nice thing. And then it led to him, giving Jim his gift. And it's like this album shape, right? And they're like, what is it? Well, it could be an album, whatever. So Jim is starting to, unwrap it and stuff. And right before they do that, I think someone mentioned to him, he got you a Kiss poster. And Anthony goes, no, I couldn't afford getting a Kiss poster for you. And I think Sam or Travis said, yeah, you get outbid by somebody. So that was great. But he opens it up and it's an album. Do you remember what it is?
No, not kind of, but I don't want to get it wrong.
Oh, look, here's that
crap. Look at that fireworks. You got to do it now. You got to.
It was Smokey Robinson's Gasms. The whole album.
And I thought it was a Nikki and Jim thing. I forgot. Yeah. No, that was another gift. That was so amazing because that was clutch because that was like the big bit when he was here interning.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, exactly. And then they read some of the song titles of the other, songs on that album, and those were hilarious. It's like I Fit In and stuff like that. This is an 84-year-old man singing these things. Terrific. Yes. Absolutely terrific.
Amazing. And the previous intern's name?
Yes.
Coop.
How could I forget
Coop? He was great too.
Oh, geez.
But farewell to Anthony. Great job. And those other gifts. One was wasn't one a sexual device of sorts with Sam's name on it?
No, I think we're getting confused with the remember the guy that does the coasters?
Yeah, I'm saying the other gifts. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant gifts from Anthony. Yeah. No. So they also went through other gifts for the boys. And Sam got like this tumbler.
That's right.
And it was really cool. I think it had to be wood because the guy works in wood, but it was this cool tumbler, and Sam's investigating it for hidden penises somewhere. And then he also got something that's really cool that we'll see on the set of the Not Sam Studios was this wood block of his logo. And then Jim got
that's awesome.
He didn't know what it was at first, but it was an eggplant shaped piece of wood that said the Nortons. Yes. So appropriate, but Jim was disappointed. Awesome. Yeah, just disappointed because he couldn't see the Nortons part.
Those are great gifts. That should be in their background for Swordfight. That'd be perfect.
I would think.
That'd be so perfect.
So. Right.
Speaking of Jimmy again, I mean, this was like, I feel like this is a bit that kind of flew under the radar, but I thought it was absolutely incredible. I'm sure you loved it.
I did.
They're talking about, I don't remember how it started. Maybe you do, but they just start Google mapping and they find Jim's house, and then we're seeing the Rite Aid. And then I think they go on Zillow and we're seeing inside the house. And it's like, this was a literal, digital walk through memory lane with Mr. Norton. And it led to some great ideas that I hope we do before the show ends.
Yeah. I mean, it was really cool to hear all those things. And Travis was just navigating it, man. He was on the computer, just like pulling these things up. And like, Jim's like, walk down there. No, if you go down that street, 2 blocks over. So guess what your kid did? I found the whole shopping center where the Rite Aid was going to be, and and where the LA Fitness was, LA Fitness is, which used to be what's that store you used to work with? Paramount or Pergament? Pergament?
Pergament and Caldor.
Yeah, both those stores were right in that same shopping area. And then so we saw how far Jim had to walk from the Rite Aid, as you know, what he picked up, the VCR and the movies, all the way to his home. And you saw how far that walk is. And it was great. Back to our MVP of the week, Miguel, was posting those photos as well of the house and stuff on his Instagram. And we were going back and forth. And like, if they're going to invite fans to do the walk, with them and hosting a show where they do the Gym Walk of Fame, we're so far in. So I have two other points on that. First one is Sam mentioned that they got to go around and put placards on the places. Like, here's where Jim threw a couch off the
monuments.
Exactly. Here's where Jim threw a couch off of the interstate. Here is a Rite Aid that Jim used to go get stuff for, and do all that. And then it was just so funny because we ended the whole thing with Montone saying, and I don't know if if you'll get this, me being Catholic really hit home with me, but he goes, this is like the gym Stations of the Cross.
Of course.
We had to go and see all these special places. We'll just do a stepping through time with Jim in his neighborhood. It was great.
It was awesome. That was such a great bit. I hope they do it in person, and we will have to go on a field trip if they do.
Yeah, for sure.
That sounds amazing. Another thing sounds amazing. I didn't watch it yet, but none other than JD from JD and the Straight Shot. I had heard about this video that the Knicks did to recruit LeBron with Gandolfini and a bunch, Spike Lee, a bunch of other heavy hitters. I didn't put together that Dolan did it. So, that's awesome. I still gotta watch it.
Yeah, I did. I've never heard about it. I think it was kind of more of a private video, just all the heavy hitters he had on there, and then the creepy factor with Harvey Weinstein and stuff. So this came up during Feeney's guest appearance, so they had a lot of fun talking about that. And so yeah, it was Chris Rock and even Donald Trump was in it. So
Don,
crazy.
The Donald. All right, so now we have a serious topic to get to before we just have a couple more and wrap it up. But we all know Jim goes to bathroom a lot. He goes to bathroom a lot. There is used to coming back from break, he wouldn't be there because he's doing a sit. And I think that still happens sometimes, but there seems like there's a lot more stands. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, and I have a kind of a hot take on that, and I'm speaking for myself and not for the town square here.
No, I think I'm going to debate you.
All right. Jim misses so much of the show. He mistimed bathroom breaks happen when things are happening and they're building and he has to go to the bathroom. He just went 3 minutes ago, and the guys will talk about it. We just got back from break 10 minutes ago. There's 3 minutes left in the show, and he had to go bathroom. Now, I know as we get older, we have to go when we have to go. I just wish the man would kind of, figure out a schedule. Maybe he needs to change his eating habits or when he has coffee so we get the most of Jim. And it's only because I love these guys that I feel hurt by it.
I got you. And I was listening to you because as I've learned from Jim, a master debater can have their minds changed. They listen, they have their minds changed. So I'm always, you make good points. My thing is the show's, it's a few hours. It's a few hours show.
Yeah.
And if whatever he misses, he gets filled in on, and then he's in it, and he can give his 2 cents. And while he's gone, you get Travis talking.
Yeah.
And when he gets back, you also get them giving him S for going to the bathroom so much, and it's hilarious. So
I don't mind it.
I don't think he misses too much.
It
could get worse. It could get worse though.
Being one of the guys just saying, what's he going again? But no, it's great because he did that during the bracket challenge, and it was a good chance for the guys to talk about their strategy and whatnot. So yeah, I don't mind it. It's funny. It's just I'm
with you though. I'm monitoring. I'm monitoring it.
I got to go to the bathroom.
All right, no problem. I'll talk. The culture have it.
Get Travis on the phone. Yeah, but it was it's a thing that happens as we get older. I get it. We've talked about code browns, you and I having them. Sometimes you just can't control it. You got to go. Let's do it.
You cannot control it. Just like how we'll hit the rest of these fast. We'll get going. Just how you can't control maybe when somebody might have needed a nap pod back in the day. Somebody might have. Gone taking a little nappy, maybe not done some work, and just kind of put a CD on Troy's desk.
Or you're looking forward to a salad and it's in the trash.
I thought of that too when they were talking about. And I love how they didn't even say his name.
Nope.
They didn't even say Rockalicious, Mr. Erock. We just know, everyone knows it's him. When there's some kind of like, Erock seems awesome, and he has a lot of the same interests as me.
Sure.
I'm not scrapping on him too much, but years.
Yeah.
But whenever they talk about in a past employee that might have exhibited some lazy behavior, we always know it's
It just got Troy all hot again because they were referring to when Troy has to cut they used to do a different way where they kind of do some replays on the weekend and it would come to Troy on a disc, a CD.
Yeah, right.
To kind of fix and put it there. And it took about an hour's worth of work for Troy to do. Troy was always given that at the last moment of the day when Troy had to like go to the bathroom. He had to go bathroom.
He would be gone and he would drop it
on his desk and leave. And it's just like, and we've all worked with people like this. It's like, oh, come on, man. So whatever. He's gone. Troy's here. As long as Troy's in control and calm, we're in good shape.
Yes. Troy's doing well. And, Mr. George Santos must be doing very well because we got some insider information that he was possibly going to be booked on a certain podcast by the name of Swordfight. And he charges $3,000, which more power to him. Like he did so many cameos. I would have loved to have seen him on that. That would have been so amazing. Him with Jim and Nikki.
It would be great. It would be great. And Jim loves him. Yeah, and I don't know if I can go along with it, but I'll tell you what I do like about it. I mean, I think he's kind of a farce, but what Jim says is they all are. And this one's honest about being, a farce. So I like that part about it. But yeah, this guy should be working at one of those stores that we mentioned earlier where Jim used to work instead of trying to be a congressman.
Agreed. And let's get to best guests. Only two. I thought it was a great week. There's some great stuff, and just two guests. Mike Feeney, I love that he keeps coming back. He's kind of like he's starting to get into that slot where he's doing really well in his career, and he's coming back to Jim and Sam frequently, kind of like when Mark Norman was.
Sure,
and Mark still comes back sometimes. I kind of a younger comedian is doing really well. I think he fits in great to the show. And we had Florentine's buddy from the telemarketer calls, Don Jameson. I believe he was Florentine's roommate for a while too, I think.
Yeah. So it was a lot of good guests. I loved Feeney on there because they talked about the old time candy bars, the Mr. Good Bar, and Jim, he was using that reference like, I'm searching for Mr. Good Bar, which is a movie or whatever. So he kept on looking for Mr. Good Bar, kept on using that the whole time. But yeah, I just love the old candy, and they had a good time talking about that. And just all the things that with Feeney was very funny. And then of course Jameson, he does the mark, terrorizing terrorists or marketers, with Florentine, but he also does a lot of those rock, TV shows and all that kind of stuff. So he's doing a new show at this place called McSorley's, which was a fun history of what that place is, and they have not a 2-drink minimum. They have like you have to have more than that. You have to have at least 2 beers in your hand at the same time. It was crazy. So he's doing a special there, really funny, and it looks good. The only reason why I wouldn't pick Jameson as my best guest is because that whole time I was thinking about when the hug's going to be, because that's when they were going to do the hugs. We're running out of time. Now as our guest.
Not his fault, but fair.
Not his fault. So he gets the loss by default only. Yeah. I'm giving it to Feeney.
You're being honest. I think Feeney too. I think he's in such like a rhythm now, his career and on the show, and I like him. But I love that they had Don Jameson on because we heard so much about him from both Norton and
I think that was his first time too, wasn't it? I think he alluded to that or something. Maybe
I have to listen again. Maybe it was. Yeah. Maybe it was. I'm sure he's on O&A, but yeah, very funny guy and does a lot of cool stuff. All right, let's get to the line of the week.
And all right, so I'm going to have you go first. Yeah, because I can't wait to share. Yeah, I can't wait to share in yours because I think I might know what it is.
All right. So as we were talking about these new comics at the Comedy Cellar and how the vibe may have changed, may have gotten a little bit, things got to be a little lighter there. You can't offend any of these young kids. But Jim had a line for why he's nice to them. He goes, "You can't S on them and then ask to do their podcast." It's
very true.
It's comedy now. Perfect. I love it.
That's exactly, because that's what these old guys need is to get on these podcasts to promote their stuff.
Old guys and young guys.
Yeah, so it was good. Yeah, I love that line as well. All right, I have 2 quick ones for line of the week. The first one was just a small little nugget. It's not even a line of the week, but I just appreciate it so much. We found out that Sam's dad texts in a lot with Sam during things and kind of puts Sam on the right path with some more educational things, like giving him a little bit more background on how things work, because Sam's dad is brilliant.
He's awesome.
And Travis said, I think we should just trade Roberts. Love that. I just
One for one day at least.
Yeah, exactly. At least one. Oh, that would be great. That's a great thing. Just have Sam's dad fill in for Sam.
It's co-host. He's not a guest. He's a co-host.
Co-host. Just have him fill in for Sam when Sam's going to do a wrestling thing and can't do it.
Idea.
I love this idea. Please, anybody, get this going. That would be fantastic. Him and Jim would be great.
Yeah,
oh, I love
everybody
that.
hit them up and demand this. Everyone on Twitter.
Yes, great idea, Scott. Great idea. All right, so my second one, they were talking about Jim possibly, having to go to a public hearing, right? And and arguing, like you saw some of these people sitting in, but if he went to a public hearing and arguing and outlasting everyone, and Travis mimicked Jim saying, how you like concede the floor. He goes, I cede the floor, and Jim goes, I could never say that because that's not true. I mean, I'll yell at the guy who mopped the floor because he's gonna cede the floor. So yeah, it was perfectly done, not by me, but by Mr. Norton.
Mr. Norton, as always. And as always, thank you guys for watching and listening. We appreciate it. If you have any questions or want to comment, throw those in the comments. And Thank you, Chris, for everything you do. Good to see you.
Thank you, brother. It's another fun week. I mean, it goes by so quick. We just celebrated our year anniversary. I can't believe we've been doing this so many times. And they're great shows. And it doesn't matter to us which Roberts is going to be in there, just as long as everybody comes to the town square.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Jim and Sam Town Square. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, not dog bell, so you don't miss an episode.
And if you're just listening to the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it.